It's Halloween, so today we're gonna scare little Jack. We're gonna throw everything we can at him to make him as scared as possible. We're gonna build axe murderers, we're gonna build skeletons, we're gonna build ghost pirates, we're gonna build everything you can imagine. It is time to scare little Jack. First up, let's grab our minifigure boxes. We need some heads with different variations. I have some fun ones here. We need some fun hair pieces, and let's get started. I grabbed a lot of cowls and capes for this one, so we can build some scary ghost figures. I also want to add a cool base where we can display all of our figures that we've built, so let's build a graveyard. First up, the classic vampire. This is a version of the vampire that I built with the new D&D CMF head. It looks great on this figure. This really looks like a classic scary vampire. This is the scary ghost witch wandering the graveyards at night. You don't want to run into her. She gives out a horrible screech at night, making it hard for all the children to sleep. And this is her sister, the whimpering ghost, crying in her bedroom every single night, tormented by the souls she lost. This is a classic werewolf figure. This is from the collectible series. I think it's a very old one, and it looks fabulous. I really love that detailed werewolf look and the shirt torn apart. Here we have another werewolf figure, and this is from Video. The music sets, I don't really know what they were supposed to do, but it's really cool. And this is one I made myself. This is a werewolf just turning. He's horrified. Those eyes, look at them. He's scared, but he's also dangerous. So in this new CMF series, the D&D one, I really found some cool looking figures. So I want to build some scary looking ones with these figures. Let's upgrade them and change them up a bit. First up, let's go with a skeleton dude. I think he's some kind of death god. Let's make him even more horrifying and add some extra detail, making him cooler. This looks like something from Ninjago, so I think it probably is, and it works perfect for this figure because it looks like his spine is outside of his body. Let's give him some skeleton soldiers with black shard skeletons and Java heads. I think these glowing eyes will work perfect with this character. This turned into more of a horror-styled fantasy character, but this guy, you do not want to meet him at the end of a dungeon. That's gonna be a hard boss to defeat. His black skeleton soldiers look great. They complement his red robes and they make for great soldiers. This figure is called a Mind Flayer. It basically controls the mind of other people. It's a really cool figure, but we're gonna rebuild it and do something else with it. So let's use that torso piece. So let's add a cowl, a cape, and this horrible looking spider face. Let's give him a cool staff with an eye on it so he can see everything. And this piece from this Dreams set, where it's basically just a flying smoke thing. I don't even know what it is, but it's gonna look really cool.
The night demon from the underworld. He sees everything.
This character ended up being disturbing in many ways. I like him, but I also I'm a bit afraid of him actually. With his eye on the staff, he sees the future and disappears in a cloud of smoke. My favorite thing when it comes to horror and Halloween are definitely zombies. So let's show off my zombie collection. Here we have my favorite zombie figures. I think I've got about 50 to 100 ones now, and these look amazing. They are scary looking and they're goofy looking, but I love them. Horror runs through the body, looking at these horrible faces. These scared looking faces. These lost souls. Zombies just wandering. Alone. Empty. Once people, now just empty shells of a human being. There's something wrong with me, sorry. I thought it would be fun to do something else for this video, so I called in my friend Albin and we're gonna do some building together. We want to build a cool, unique Halloween build, so we're gonna build a big skeleton bursting through a graveyard because a few grave diggers disturbed his sleep. I think this is gonna be a really cool build. So there's a lot to do. Let's start building that base. We want a cool big graveyard with a lot of graves and empty, scary vibe like you see in Scooby-Doo, but even more scary. While I'm working on the graveyard, Albin is working on the big skeleton. Building a scary looking, bigger skeleton in Lego, that's definitely a challenge, so we had to put a lot of thought and time into this one. However, we wanted to give ourselves a challenge, so we put a timer on 2 hours to see if we could complete this build together within 2 hours only. This head looks kinda horrifying. I definitely think he nailed the look. Great work, Albin. Now we just have to connect the body to the head and put it into the scene. Still a lot of work to do. After building for 1.5 hours, we were almost done. I started doing the background, and Albin started to put everything back into the scene to see if it would still hold. We wanted the skeleton to be poseable so it could reach out into the night and try to grab the figures who were robbing his grave. After some final touches, we were finally done with the build. Let's take a look. Some grave-robbing archaeologists were out looking for treasure. Little did they know that they disturbed the Skeleton King. He was angry and wanted revenge for defiling his grave. This was the biggest mistake of their careers. Now the Skeleton King was awake, and who knows what he will do with the glowing teeth and his red eye. Horrifying sight for the world to see. He's been resting for thousands of years and now he's back. What will it do? Well, I kind of like the story, right? It's a cool scene. I'm very happy with what we did. While on the topic of skeletons, let's take a look at this one. My friend Thomas did this, and they look incredibly cool, right? He also built some Ghostbusters scenes with the Marshmallow Man. Here we have my friend Sophia, and she builds nasty looking things. This spider, I can't sleep at night after I've seen this one. It looks actually horrifying and too realistic in my opinion. I have nightmares from this one all the time. She also built this really cool white one with red eyes, and they're actually diamonds for eyes. Very nice part usage. However, it looks kinda nasty. Hey, let's move on to some pop culture figures. I want to build Patrick Bateman from American Psycho, with his iconic suit and that raincoat on top of it. Let's also give him his axe and his iconic haircut. I think we really nailed this one. It looks like Patrick Bateman, and this guy you don't want to run into in an alley. I want to build a character that's inspired by Leatherface. Leatherface is the villain from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, a classic slasher movie. That head combined with the chainsaw and the torso makes him look really scary actually. Probably one of the scariest figures I've built. That face is just so disturbing. Let's also build Jason from Friday the 13th. It's probably the most classic slasher villain of all time. I didn't have a hockey mask, but this skeleton mask will do just fine. There's 1,000 ways you can build Jason, but I wanted to go for the more realistic approach. I know the head, it looks a bit weird, but also looks great. He's still chasing out teens from Camp Crystal Lake. Ghost Pirates. Let's build some of them. I found Ursula's legs from The Little Mermaid and I wanted to use them for something, so a pirate captain, I think that will fit perfect. Green ghost pirates? That's kinda scary actually. Let's also give him a whole ghost crew. Glowing green ghost pirates. I think they will look amazing. If it isn't the old ghost pirate crew. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that, but they look really cool, I think. The heads are from Lego Hidden Side, and we have some cool parts from Lego Pirates of the Caribbean. Since these heads are transparent, if you actually put a light behind them, it looks like the heads are glowing. I wonder what this pirate crew actually did to deserve this fate. Let's build some pumpkin-inspired Halloween figures. I found this really scary-looking pumpkin head and I wanted to do a cool figure with it. Let's give him a collar and a top hat, and he will look something like Jack the Ripper, but the pumpkin version. Now this is a real Halloween monster. Here's another perfect Halloween pumpkin head, and this one's an actual mask. So let's build another figure using this head. A classic monster that you always have to include is Frankenstein's monster, so let's build him, and let's build a machine that makes him be alive. Yeah, I feel bad for this dude. Frankenstein's monster was never a good idea. Putting pieces of people together and making a new person? Yeah, bad idea. An old cool piece is Medusa's legs. I don't really know where it's from, but I love the snake tail. So I think we can do a cool forest witch with this one. A witch that lures you into her hut and eats you. Puts a magic spell on you and turns you into a frog. Or maybe her slave. This ended up being a fantasy version of a witch. And I haven't seen that many witches looking like this, so I wanted to try a different approach. Here we have an ordinary snowman, and I really like this figure, but we're gonna do something with the figure's head. So let's remove the entire figure and use the mask only. Let's also add Hagrid's torso, the Big Fig figure, and a head from a Harry Potter set. Let's add that head to it, give him an axe, and all of a sudden we have a horrifying, scary snowman axe murderer. Imagine being out in the forest and you spot this guy between a few trees. That sounds scary. Look at him, that demented face with the snowman mask. One of the scariest figures I've built. And I mean, he doesn't get less scary when you remove the mask. That face is also horrifying. Here's another example of a cool witch you can build with the rest of Medusa's parts, her hair. This ended up being a nasty looking swamp creature with snakes on her head and scary glowing eyes. Here we have a sea captain ghoul who looks a bit scarier than the ghost pirate, but still maybe friendly. I think we need to call in the Scooby-Doo mystery gang. Maybe they can figure out who's actually underneath this mask, because this is probably not a real ghost. It was just Old Man Johnson all along, and probably all of these ghosts were. Thank you for watching, and happy Halloween!